上午8点到店了，要是检查身体，咱们要求。
我名字叫沙洋，我是美国人。My name is Jim Spear. I'm from the United States, but I've lived in China for 35 years. When I first came to see this village, it was in March of 1986. My dream was to be able to have my own home under the Great Wall, and I didn't think it would be possible as a foreigner. Out of the blue, this local villager said, "I'll help you find a house." And he did.
I guess this is it. Jim, are you in?
Oh, yeah.
There you are. Hi, how are you doing? Thank you very much.
Really nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Wow, look at this.
Please, come in.
Thank you.
So
Wow, this is fantastic.
This is our house. We can get a sense over here of what the whole thing is like. Of course, we have another whole house in the background.
So I'm going to explore everywhere in here.
The key of my own vision is to keep an original house instead of tearing it down, because that gives respect to the people who originally could only afford to build a house like this. When Tang Liang and I moved back to China, we had nothing. We had a cardboard box full of disposable diapers, and that was all that we arrived with. And so every last bit of this, except for a few pictures, have been accumulated during our lives here. Most of these are liquor pots. They're not teapots.
How many do you think you have now?
Probably 150 of them. Over the last 35 years, we've found one at a time and then added it to the collection. So when I first started, you know, one of these little things was 20 or 30 renminbi.
Right.
And I would buy it at a dirt market, or I'd see it somewhere, and Leon said, "Why do you want to bring that stuff into our house? You know, it's dirty." And I said, "No, but look how beautiful it is. Look at the shape." I'm married to a woman named Tang Liang, and we met in California in Berkeley. She was my Chinese tutor there. She was a beautiful young woman from China, and with this incredibly vivacious spark in her personality. And from the very first day that I met her, I was kind of interested in more than being her student. And so Liang and I have now been married for more than 39 years. We have a fight every day. I'm not cooking tonight. You're cooking.
I thought you were making soup.
No, I don't want to cook.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know how to make a soup.
From the time I was a little boy, I drew plans and did designs and so forth. And then for the last 15 years, it's been my job. In the studio, 3 sides are completely... When I get a project, I don't necessarily get to pick the prettiest site or the prettiest old house. I have to take what the client has and then fit all the functionality that they want to realize their dreams, and yet also be true to my own vision. In front of the cabinet. So I made them move it back closer to the wall.
所以基本上看不到那边，因为这边的顶应该是。I'm an architect. My name is Wan Kai Song, and then I went to Berkeley, UC Berkeley as a graduate student. And I actually, the first time I saw Jim's work, I was quite amazed by it. He told us he's not trained as an architect. I look at his work, oh, this is really good. Jim actually has a lot of experience building in the countryside, probably much more than I do. And he learned a lot through hands-on working here, working with the craftsmen.
I'm not theoretical. I'm very visceral. A lot of times my designs, I go to sleep at night thinking of them and walking through an imaginary house or space that I'm designing.
咱们从开始见着他，咱们不怎么忒喜欢他，到后来一点点就融洽了。你看他这个举止，还有环境这方面，他都弄得特别干净。
The mayor turned on the loudspeaker system down at the village hall, and it says in Chinese, Jim Spear, report to the village hall now.
And you were up here.
I was up here. He said, our community, our village has been here for 500 years. And this is the most challenging time since our ancestors came here and built this section of the Great Wall. The population is aging. There's no good jobs for the young people. They're moving away. What we would like you to do is to start a tourism business in the village. Once we come up and through the courtyard, we can turn around and we see the entire southern face of the original house. Again, you can see I've used trash, brick, and stone to do the paving. Hey, Shanting, 你好。
你好，范先生。
怎么样？
很好。
老板好啊。
很好，很好。
好。So this man, Li Shanting, is the owner of the house. He's the boss. And this room is the dining room, and it's a reinforced concrete structure with steel. And so when we look up to where the roof is, we can see we used I-beams to support a traditional Chinese roof.
通过这撒洋弄这个小园的影响，我们就把这个村里边这个闲置的这一块土地就收了，就做成公园，把这个环境就这样的就一点一点的变了。08年咱就是北京，咱们北京市咱们这个最美乡村，
This house is called Granny's Place. We turned it in a place where my mother could live when she came to visit us. She's 86 this year, so she might not be able to come to China again. This is my mom's bed. This is where she stayed when she came to visit us here in Mutanyu. Hi, Mom. I'm good. How are you? You look beautiful. You dressed up for this call. Leon, say hi.
Hello, Mom. How are you?
Hey, what are you up to?
You're looking good. I like that shirt.
Told me I'd better look as well as possible, and it's hard for me to look good.
My hair is white as yours.
Whiter. This painting here was painted by my younger daughter, who's a painter, and she did that for my 60th birthday. And it was a joke of my head in a planter bowl.
It's okay. It's better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's better already.
哎，你干嘛？你今天还上班了，唐阳
I went to the ceramic studio.
Oh, okay. What did you make? You haven't shown us your pieces.
Because they're not finished yet.
Okay.
Daddy.
Daddy's here.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you guys?
你们俩好好的啊。哎，你要不然你们俩回来吧，要不然。
我给奶奶打电话了吗？
他刚打完呀。奶奶特精神啊，特别好。她那头发比我还多。Take care.
Okay, have a good night.
Bye bye.
Let's take a photo. Yeah,
Take a photo. Take a photo. Take a photo.
yeah, put together. Get together. No.
Okay. Take it. Bye. 哎呀。
Well,
Thank you for making that roasted veggie I like.
thank you for the other dishes.
This is too salty for your information.
I don't know. This may not be salty enough for you. Just use the spoon to 调整 what you like.
You try my mushroom. 有点凉了。
Well. 这么长时间在农村，我的口味也比较重。Well, Leon, in spite of your bad temper, I love you.
We shouldn't cook together.
No, we shouldn't cook together. I'm very fortunate to be welcomed to live here by my neighbors. I consider this to be my home in a village under the Great Wall.
This is a CGTN exclusive. This hasn't been exhibited anywhere, and very few people have actually seen this.
Exactly. It was just recently completed, and also the first time where I have my calligraphy inside the hand scroll with the photography.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I am Michael Cherney, a photographer and artist. I grew up in New York. I had first started, my father had done some trade with Asia, so I started language thinking I might do business, but I very quickly realized I didn't have the mind for it. But I loved the language and I loved the history, and began studying Chinese language and history at university there. I first came to China over 30 years ago and have called Beijing home for most of the years since then.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Oh, don't worry at all. How are you doing?
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
We picked a good day for it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So you haven't done much of the mountains around Beijing, but do you know where we're heading today?
It was just recommended by a friend, and when I went on to see the satellite imagery on the computer, it looks like there's potential for some really nice visuals. Through my art, I tried to combine photography with the themes, formats, materials, and aesthetics usually associated with classical Chinese landscape painting in a way that feels natural. When it comes time to photograph a specific subject or location, to truly integrate past with present, it is first necessary to study paintings, maps, and texts to gain historical context. With that knowledge as a jumping-off point, I then transition to very contemporary processes. Utilizing online satellite mapping, I work from home to determine the GPS coordinates of locations that allow for photography of desired sites from the most ideal angle, and then work backwards to determine if the location is accessible by road or, if not, possibilities for getting there on foot. One cannot know what to expect in the field, but the research is critical for getting close enough to allow for improvising the rest of the way and being free to accept what nature has to offer. My grandfather was an accomplished photographer with the New York Daily News, but he had died when I was very young. Just around the time after my illness, when I was searching for a path, a book was published about his photography, which inspired me to give photography a try. My photographs are shot on film, usually 35 millimeter. After the film is developed, I search for elements within the film frame. Other than cropping, the content of the photographs remains unaltered, thus allowing for nature's true expression. Yay, you're here.
How are you doing?
Come on in.
Thank you so much.
Sure, welcome, welcome.
Wow, your house is wonderful. Oh, look at all this space.
I still shoot my work on film, and a very important reason for that is the graininess of the photos, because I take little excerpts of a photo and enlarge them to kind of lose the sense of perspective and get a little bit close to a feeling of classical painting. Film cameras don't have the little screen, so you don't know the result you got. You have to kind of really focus, be 100% in the moment, make sure you got the right photo. Take this and you just pick any image and you look through, you'll see how sharp it is, the detail. Put it right up against there.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Most of my images are black and white. The rule I learned from the beginning was that if the color information is important, then I include color. Otherwise, keep it black and white. It makes it a bit easier to be consistent across a series of images. And it also has a bit more drama. Photography is usually just that straight rectangle that we never seem to be able to break out of. By having a rhythm, a narrative feel in something like a folding album or a hand scroll, it really makes an image feel more like a story. And that's what it was in the old days. Hand scrolls were like the movies before movies. And so I experimented with how to combine those formats with photography, but in a way that felt natural.
This is your calligraphy.
Exactly. And it's actually, so this area also, this part of Hubei is mentioned in the 楚辞, the Song of the South, one of China's earliest collections and most important collections of poetry. And I tried to use some characters drawn from the poetry in the 楚辞 that talked about this area. And so essentially talking about how our feet and the wheels of our car, or cart as it would be in those days, would get caught in the mud going from view to view. And I actually took some of the mud from there, mixed it with a little bit of glue to make the seal, the starting seal, with my thumb like that. Print the photographs onto paper that is usually used for ink painting, which results in some loss of detail, but a more timeless feel. The prints are then mounted using traditional methods and craft as either albums, hand scrolls, hanging scrolls, fans, or other formats. Now it's going to start to get noisy. Hand scrolls and albums are my personal favorites as they add a sense of rhythm and intimacy. One can sit with the work or share it with friends, unrolling or unfolding as if reading a poem. The printing stage is the most challenging.
I can imagine.
Yeah, looks okay.
It looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll bring some of these things to the mounter. 今天我们是来找李红艳，那个李红艳是一个非常好的一个装裱师，所以他就给我们看看。
对，可以看看别人工作。
对，
谢谢啊。
请，这是我的工作室。
Here you can see the.
Oh, look at this, a studio right in your home. 很大的桌子。
我给你看，我今天带了2件东西啊。The amazing thing about the wonderful qualities of Shram paper is that when that ink absorbs into the paper, as soon as it dries, it sets, and even getting it completely drenched like this, the ink doesn't move.
I thought it would run.
Yeah. So the brushing out all the bubbles.
Yeah. To
the wall?
Yeah. Almost reminds me a bit like a pillow.
就让这画芯和这个背后这墙给它离开。
But this way, when it dries evenly. 这样它干的时候就会很匀啊。
第一次见面，我就觉得他那个是个中国通。我们好多地儿都没去过，他都去过，给我讲起这中国的典故啊，然后这些古诗词啊。 我自叹不如，
反正还得学一辈子的事儿，然后每次来这我也能学到不少东西。Studying classical paintings over the years has helped to train my eye to try to recognize that subjective moment when clicking the camera shutter will capture a view that evokes the rise and fall of the 10,000 things. Yet also allows the viewer to connect to it as something real, something that did or still does exist. There's a long tradition in China of traveling to places that have accumulated a great deal of cultural memory, to connect with what has come before and then feel yourself to be part of that story. China is unique as a place where the thread of the art tradition has remained unbroken for millennia. It has given great comfort to me to share a sense of kinship and community. with artists, scholars, and travelers who existed long before our present-day geographies and identities, and to connect with nature, which bestows its gifts in equal measure to all.